Hi, it's Teresa here from Warragul in Victoria in Australia, and I'm so excited to share with you today. We're going to be making a shaker card with one of our new papers that are going to be coming out in our new catalogue next year, which is not that far away really, but I'm excited about that. So without further ado, I'm going to bring you down and I'll talk to you while I'm making the card. Okay, so I'm going to add some extra products today. In this card, we're going to be using our little sequins here, and we're also going to be using our little floral centres here that are in our annual catalogue. Because we need that, plus our Whisper White and Early Espresso cardstock. We're also going to be using from our mini catalogue Stitch So Sweetly dies, which are really beautiful, and they match up gorgeous with all these words over here. So that's really good. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm going to be making this as we go. I haven't made one earlier or anything like that. I've cut the cardstock up. So I'm going to be measuring this for you. It's 21 by 14.5. Now this is the basic card that I use quite a lot because if you're doing like easel cards or pop-up cards or shaker cards, anything that's adding a little bit of dimension, just having that little 0.5 gives you that little bit of extra room to get it into your envelope without it being too much of a tight squeeze. If you have it 15 centimetres, which is the normal size card, it just really does make it a real tight fit. So let's go through. We're going to have a centrepiece, and our centrepiece is Whisper White, and it's 14 by 10, so we can add that into our card straight away. So I like to have a centrepiece into the card because this way, sorry, I've got to get my glue. This way we can write on it, and especially if you're using a dark card like I am at the moment, the Early Espresso, you really do want to, you can't write on it unless you write in white, but yeah, it makes it easier to put a sentiment in there, and okay, sentiment, and also to write on. So that's the first thing I like to do, is put my insert in, and that's all in, ready to go now. So that's the inside of the card. Now I've also we're going to put the same size measurement one on the front, which is 14 by 10, but I've ran it through the brick layer, I'll just grab the embossing folder, the brick and mortar 3D embossing folder, and I just love it. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that. So we're going to use some Sahara sand to start off with. Some of these are my old pads. So we're just going to come across and just colour it lightly across with our pad. We just want a little bit of the texture to pop up. So this is why we give it a colour. You can sponge it if you want to, or if you've got a brayer, you can use a brayer, but I just want a light coating on that. You can use whatever colours you have. You might have a crumb cake or something like that, so you might want to use that. But I'm going to put our bricks down onto our page here, onto our card I should say, sorry. I like to use the liquid Tombow glue because you seem to get a lot more of it sticking down better with a bulkier card. So I like to make sure that I use that. Also like to have it sitting upside down, so once again, I use my ribbon holder, my ribbon to hold that, just to do that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use our dies. And I'm using this Stitch So Sweetly dies. And these are really beautiful. These are the ones that I was showing you in the catalogue. I'll just bring the catalogue back for a minute. You can match them up with the words over here. And it's a bundle, so you can save 10% if you buy the dies with the stamps together, and make sure you use the bundle ordering code, because if you order on this you'll only get the dies, or if you order this one down here you'll only get the stamps. So make sure that if you want your 10% off, that you order up here. This is in our mini catalogue at the moment, and yeah, these dies are just really beautiful to use, and they go around so many sentiments, and I love that. So I'm using that for our shaker card today. So what I've actually done is I've cut out some pieces. So I cut out this piece to make a little frame, and I also cut out this piece, and I'll use the centerpiece out of this on another card, and the centerpiece, this centerpiece on another card as well. But I'm going to actually glue this onto here, so I'm going to do that now. I love the fact that our liquid glue has got two sides to it. You've got a fat end if you're working on big stuff, and I like to work with this fine tip. It's so much easier to just get that tiny little bit of glue without making a big mess. Okay, we're going to put this. Now, the Designer Series paper that I'm actually using is one of the beautiful Designer Series paper coming out in April, and I have got a bonus for you guys. I really am excited about this. So you'll have to wait to hear some more details about this. But I am so excited about having a bonus for you guys. Now, this is really gorgeous. It's got print on both sides, but we're going to be using this. And I'm going to use also our window sheet. Now, our window sheet comes with tissue paper on it, and when I cut it, I like to cut it with the tissue paper on it. So that's just a little tip that I like to do, because it stops anything from getting on the window sheet. I think I just put a bit of glue on it. Must have had a bit on my finger. So, okay, so we're going to stick that on the inside, on this side, on the back of the card. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue around the outside edge here. And we want this to stick quite well, because we're going to be putting shaker stuff in there. So we want it to make sure that we've got enough glue on there to seal it up. Okay, so I'm going to place that over the top of where I've glued. Now you're going to have to give this just a couple of minutes to actually take and to dry off, but that's how we're going to make our window for our card. Now the other thing we're going to use is our daisy punch, and as I said, we're going to use these gorgeous little centres. Aren't they cute? So they look really gorgeous in the centre of the daisy, and we're just going to be using the Whisper White cardstock today, but you could use whatever colour you wanted to and make the daisies up. Well, we've got lots of colour daisies. We do have a complimentary big daisy punch as well, but we're not using that one today, just the smaller one. So just to show you how to use them, we actually have a little release button on the back, and you actually just put your cardstock through there and punch them out. I've already punched mine out just to save a little bit of time today. Okay, so we also have our shakers, which is really gorgeous. This is the iridescent, I think that's what you call it, iridescent sequins, and they're just so beautiful, and they go with lots of colours because they've got lots of colours in them, and they'll pick up whatever colours in your designer series paper, so that's a real bonus too. The other thing that we're going to be using is our strip foamies to go around our card. So we're going to do that now. And I love these 4 shaker cards because they're just so easy to do, and I usually cut them off so that they're pretty well nearly the right length to go around our card. And you just don't want to push it down too, have it too tight. You want it just nice and loose on there. And I'm going to have to trim one of these. And we want that along the bottom. Now we do want them to come into one another because we want it to really be banked up there and to come straight into there. For the simple reason is you don't want to just put a little bit like that in there because your little sequence will go running away, they'll disappear, which is pretty sad, but that's what will happen. So I'm just going to cut another one here, and this will just bump into our top one here. Okay, I also like to put a little bit down there, just because when you're putting the card on you want it to sit really nicely. And I'll also grab a full one, grab a full one here and just put it across the top here, just so that it sits nice and even. So it'll raise it up for our shaker card to be shaked. So I'm going to put these little extra bits that I've got here just around the edge. You don't have to have a whole full length strip there, you can just have it just so it just sits really lovely. And we've got a full one on this side. Okay, so that's how you get the base of this. And you can see that it sits up really nice. So this is going to go over the top of our bricks, which is going to be really nice, and I like the it going this way. I like the shorter piece up the top there. So this is going to go over our bricks. So we need to put some shakers on our cardstock. Some people like to leave the top open and then seal that down. It's entirely up to you how you put your shakers in. There's no right or wrong way. You can sort of see that that's going to go okay. I might want just a few more. It's up to you how much shakers you put in there. Sometimes I put lots in and sometimes I don't put quite as much in. So, okay, so we're going to peel off all the backs now. So we're going to peel off the backs here. And I love this strips because it's just so easy. With our other dimensions, you seem to use a lot of them to go around the shaker card. With these strips, it's just great. You can use the edges up on your other dimensions though. They're really great for shaker cards too on the other dimensions, the around the edge part, because it has got one flat side that you can put up towards Just going to make sure they're all out. Turn it up the right way. Okay, now if you wanted to add anything else in there, you add it before you glue your shaker thing down. You would need to do that. Okay, so you can sort of see we have our shakers, and it's quite beautiful and glittery in there, which is really lovely. Just pop this rubbish in the bin. Okay, so now we're going to decorate it up. We're going to have some words going across here. And we're going to have some daisies coming in around it as well. So I'm not quite sure how many daisies yet because I haven't worked that out, but we'll work it out as we're doing it. Okay, so the word. What word do we want? I'm going to use the Stamparatas. Now the reason I'm using the Stamparatas is because when you're using ink, sometimes it might be not as dark as you want it. If you have a block, yeah, you can't go down on the word 2 or 3 times. So I've picked out a few stamp sets here, but I'm going to use, this is one of the stamp sets that come with our new Designer Series paper, which I was thinking I might have used thank you or thanks on that because that will fit. Let me just have a look. Another stamp set is Peaceful Moments, and I think I might use this one and make this into a sympathy card because I'm always never have one made when I want it. Thinking of you with all my heart, and then on the inside we can have with deeper sympathy, and this is the Peaceful Moment one. So how I use my Stamparatas is I like to use my silicone mat. I know we've got magnets, but I like to use my silicone mat because I can apply my snail already on to the back of my cardstock, which I really love, and then just place it onto my Stamparatas because on the silicone mat it will just peel off and you're ready to stick it straight onto your other piece of cardstock, which is really clever, I think. So we're going to get thinking of you with all my heart. Where is that one? Thinking of you with all my heart. Okay, so if it's a new stamp set, you need to peel the back off it. Is this it? Thinking of you with all my heart, yes. And then you can stick your cling back onto it as well. Just get that out of here. Whoop. Okay, here it is. Thinking of you with all my heart is here. So how do we stick that on? We just take off one side. I'm going to just take that side off. And we just place it straight over the top of the same image and then peel the back off, the second part of the back I should say, and just let it fall. Don't let it go tight because you don't want your stamp to curl over. You don't want it really tight. So that is our stamp that we're using today, Thinking of You with All My Heart. And I'm just going to line it up into where I want it. And I'm going to bring the lid down on the Stamparatas. And having the cling on there doesn't take much pressure to lift that stamp up, which is really good. Now I'm going to come in with a soft ink today. I'm going to come in with the Crumb Cake. And I suggest that you put an ink pad just underneath the word there, just so you've got a little bit of support to come down on that. So we're going to come down once And if it's still just quite a little bit light, the good thing about the Stampin' is if you just stamp that with your block, that's exactly what you would get. You wouldn't be able to line it up a second or a third time, which I love. So you can see that I'm just making it just that little bit darker. And that's the wonderful thing about a Stampin' So you can just sort of see it's really brought the words out to pop, and it's still light, still how I want it. You just peel it off, your glue's already on there. I'm just going to pop that out of the way for a minute. And I use the crumb cake on this one, and we can stick that straight on to our background because it's already got the snail on there, which is really, really awesome. So we're going to work out where we want to have our thinking of you. We're going to have a daisy coming up here somewhere. So we might want it just up the top there. So we're just going to use the snail. The snail will stick onto the window sheet really good. And I'm just not quite sure if I want it in the center or if I want it to the side. Let's go to the side a little bit. That's fit into the center really nice. No, I think I'll go to the side a little bit. Okay, so we're just going to stick it down there. You can see I haven't made one before because I'm still a bit undecided where I want stuff. So we're going to put our daisy here. Now I've actually gone through and just curled them over a little bit just so that they pop up. You can sponge them a little bit if you want to. So we're going to put one daisy up in this corner, and you can see I've punched out a whole heap of them because I didn't know how many I wanted. It's funny when you're not quite sure when you haven't made a card, but I like to over punch because I can always use them on another card. So just going to, you can use your bone folder or your scissors just to curl and stretch the paper a little bit. I prefer my bone folder, but if you haven't got a bone folder, I'm just showing you today, you can use your scissors as well. And we're going to bring in a second daisy. I'll put the one down here first, I think. And then I might do one up there and three down here. And then our next one as well. These are great, these little fairy things. They really do look like centres of flowers, and I just love them. So I'm not quite sure. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. You get about 18, I think, in the packet. So that's not too bad. If you're a demonstrator and you're doing a class with them, you might need a couple of packets because depends on how many you're giving to each of your customers. Okay, so we're going to come in with one here and one down here. Maybe I don't want that one there because we've got the shakers down there. So maybe I will just put it more to the side. Now I've got a thing, I might do it up the top. Sorry ladies. Now this is another thing you've got to watch when you're doing cards too, is the overhang of things, because then they won't go into your envelope. So just be mindful when you're doing that as well, that you just have them around a little bit, that they will go into the envelopes. We'll put the 3 up the top. Okay, so this is a beautiful little daisy card, and it's a shaker card. It's gorgeous, and inside we're just going to you can stamp out a sympathy, you can stamp out a happy birthday or whatever you like, because thinking of you with all my heart goes with so many different sayings that you can put in the centre of the card. So I really hope you enjoyed today. Gorgeous little shaker card. I love the daisies, and I love this new designer series paper that's coming out, the daisy one. And just adding the bricks to the back, yeah, it just gives it a little bit more excitement, and yeah, really is gorgeous. Well, until next time, I hope you enjoyed today, and hopefully you join my online class, which will be exciting, and it'll be a private group on Facebook, and you'll get a bonus, but I'll tell you more about that later. See you next time. Bye.